This is Gemara Yevamos Daf Pei. Hey, all the learning has been generously sponsored as an incredible schos of Refuah Shalema for Chadvalei Abbas Saradina. Mir Tashem, the learning of the entire Chabura should bring Chadvalei Abbas Saradina an incredible and complete Refuah Shalema Bekariv. As well as the learning to be a Schoshilu Vizalchaim Devar Tamziv as Harach Shalom Levizava Ovim and Teli Shema Ben Chayav Lamud Zvasim Malka. As well as Refuah Shalem Shal Yus Ben Revedish Mo Ben Tilam Talzim Chles and Chom Basviva Sarah Blum Bas Mendel Chaim Moishi Yeshua and Malka Shavu. Chana. B'Seich Sha'ar Choli Yisrael, we're holding on a Pei Dalid Omid Peace. We're approximately 12-13 lines at the bottom. The first word line is Kiddi Isa. We begin today with a question. Masiv Rava Bar Ravin Bar Rav Nachman. It's going to be a question on Rav. Rav said that we have a kohenes, a woman whose father was a kohen. Said Rav, she's allowed to marry a halal or someone else who is forbidden. And the truth is, let's zoom up a little bit over here. And at the two dots, that was the statement of Yehuda and Rav that taught us lo is hiru k'sheiros li'nasei psulim. The k'sheiros, this kohenes, is not warned about marrying a apostle. She is allowed to. So ask Ravin Bar Rav Nachman. It says in the Torah lo yikachu. It says 2 times they should not take. Melamid, and this teaches us that a woman is warned via a man, that whatever a man is forbidden to do, a woman is forbidden to do, and that meaning within the world of marriage, in the world of relations, and just like a kohen cannot marry a halala, a woman who is forbidden, so to a kohenes should not be allowed to marry a halal. So ask the Gemara, you Rav Yehuda Rav is saying that the kohenes is allowed. We see from the Psukim not that way. Amar Rava says Rava kolecha dehu muzar he muzares. Says Rava, no, when he is warned, that's when she is warned. So it's true, when he would be marrying a halala, she would also be included in the Isser to be married to him. But in a scenario where for him it is not also, meaning for the halal it's not also to marry a kohenes, so from her it's not also as well. So says the Gemara, but the previous psukim of lo yikachu come to teach us a different thing. They teach us a different thing. 5 lines to the bottom. That a man or a woman, when they do any aviros, any chatos of an adam, from here explains the Braisa Hishva kos of isha leish. With regard to punishment, they are equated one to another. So says the Gemara, why do we need the pasuk of lo yikachu, lo yikachu? We see clearly that whatever he is forbidden in, she will be forbidden as well. Explains the Gemara, if you only had that pasuk of Isha Ava, I would have thought Lava Shava Bekol. I would have thought that only applies to that which is not equal to all people, meaning Isurim of a Kohen. A Kohen is unique to the Kohanim, so you would have thought that the drush is only about Kohanim. Avalav Shein only about. It does not apply to such a scenario. Like the love of Kohanim, I would have thought it does not apply, and therefore explains the Gemara. That is the reason why we need 2 psukim. But ask the Gemara further on the top of Be'em and Aliv Arei Toma, the lav sheino shava bakol. But yeah, we have Toma, which is a lav which is not unanimous, does not apply to everyone. And yet, even though it's not applicable to everyone, we need a special and unique drasha of Bnei Aaron, which clearly implies that alav achi, if not for that drasha of Bnei Aaron, you would have thought it's chayiv. Why would you think it's chayiv? My taima is not the reason. Lami shon Rav Yehuda Rav, and therefore says the Gemara. We see again the source of Yehuda Rav. Explains the Gemara. 4 lines from the top of the Amud. No, we would have learned it out from the Torah. Another way of learning kicha itzrichalei. Why needs the pasuk of lo yikachu that we do not learn it from Toma? So says the Gemara. Let's go back to the din that we started with today, the din of Rav Yehuda Rav, the din in which the daughters of a kohen, a bas kohen, is allowed to marry a chalal. So I asked the Gemara, Papa Ravuna Breder of Yeshua, they all went to visit a place called Hinatzu La'asrei Davidi Baravin, which was the town, the locale of Rav Idi bar Ravin Ba'u Minayu, when they asked of them, of these visiting Gedolim, Hiziru Kisheres Inasib Sulam Oilai. Our Kisheres warned, our Shaila is the Kishera, is the Kayanis warned about marrying a Apostle Achol or not, Amlura, Pabatinitua. Says Rabba, but it's a Rishna. Sorry, Yosan Albi Babel Ganali, Misil Chalom, Girim, Charum, Mamzirim, Nisinim, Shtuki, Basufi, these are the 10 lineages that came up from Bavel. And now the Bryce explains. Koyanim, Levim, Yisrael, Mutar, and Lava said they could all intermarriage into another. Cain can marry Levi to Israel, and vice versa. Levim, Yisraelim, Chalolim, Geirim, Charurim, Mutarim, Lava, B'zebazeh. Anything under the Koyin, they can marry each other. But Geiri, Charuri, Mamziri, Nisini, Nishtuki, Vasufi, those are Mutar and Lava, B'zebazeh. But of course, not with the regular Israel. V'ilu, and what's the glaring omission? Goyanes the Chalal Loi Katani. The Bryce does not say this case, so what does it show us? It seemingly implies, not like Rav Yudah Marav, it implies that a Goyanes the Chalal is indeed forbidden. So Amalei Rav Huna Rav Yeshua, absolutely not. Kolecha Dahani Nasvi Mehani Vani Nasvi Mehani, says Rav Huna Rav Yeshua, when the men from one group take the woman from another group, Vani Nasvi Mehani Katani. That's what the Mishnah spoke about. Koyin given the Ilu Boilim. Says the Gemara, it's one-sided, one-directional, I should say. The Kohen can't marry the Chalala, so the Bryce doesn't list it. It's true, though, that the Chalal could, yes, marry the Kohen. But the reason it was Kohen asked, the reason why it was not mentioned, because it does not go both ways. Continues the Gemara, and he called to him children. Mimicking the statement in which we began with today. And now to do that, we go back, quoting the din of the Mishnah of Shniyos Midivrei Seifrim. Secondary relations, and the Mishnah differentiated that if it's a secondary relation to the husband, it's forbidden to the husband, but not forbidden to the Yavam if the Yavam is not the same relation. So explains the Gemara, the case in the Mishnah, it's a Shniya Labal, so they're also to the Baal. It's not a Shniya to the Yavam, so they're mutter to the Yibam. So fundamental Shaila asked the Gemara, Yesh la ksuba me'yavam oilai. This woman is forbidden to her husband, but then he died and she's mutares to his brother. What is the status? Does she get a ksuba from him or not? And explains the Gemara the Shaila. As we've seen already, who pays for the ksuba? The original estate, the first husband. So therefore, Lasla, the first husband she was forbidden to. She does even to the Yavam, but there's no ksuba. The halacha is, if the first husband did not leave over any money, did not leave over anything for his wife to be supported, then the second husband assumes that responsibility. So therefore, I would think Isla, the second husband now has the responsibility to pay her ksuba. So Amrlu Rav Sheshet's responsive Sheshetanitua ksuba sal nichsei by law Risha, and we learned in a Mishnah the ksuba goes about through the first husband. Mechla, what does that apply? There are times it goes to the Yavam, it's not true. So here the Gemara articulates the Raya Chasiri Mechzer V'Achi Katani. Ksuba Sal Nechsei by Larishain. The Ksuba does indeed go after the state of the first husband. V'im Lesla Me Rishain Takinu La Me Sheni. If there isn't enough of the state of the first husband, then indeed you're mitaking, you supply it from the second husband. Then she will not get from neither the Baal nor the Yavam. And now continues the Gemara to do that. Once we're on the topic of forbidden marriages, the Kohen Gadol to the Almana, etc., we said in the end of the Mishnah, there's different categorizations and classifications with regard to whether the woman in these forbidden relationships receive the ksuba, A, and are supported, B. So by Minei Rav Elazar at the 2 dots, so 25 lines to the bottom, Meir Rav Yochanan. Almana l'koyin gadol, which of course is forbidden. Krush v'chalutz l'koyin yadivin is also forbidden. Yesh lahem mezaynais, ayein lahem mezaynais. Are these women fed properly or not? It's a forbidden marriage, but does the husband have to support them? Answers the Gemara, Heichi Dami, what is the case? Ilema diyaser tutei. If you're going to tell me the case is that they're living together, ask the Gemara. I lost the place. Ask the Gemara. What do you mean? He's obligated to divorce her. It's forbidden. He's going to have to give her support. So explains the Gemara, you know what the case is. The husband ran away. They love Sava Achla, and the wife, she has nothing to do, so she borrows money to buy food for her to eat. So my mizaini tonight ksubaninu. So do we say that support, sustenance, is a detail in the ksuba? Therefore, medisla ksuba isla mizaini. For the fact that she gets the ksuba, she gets supplied as well. Or maybe not. Says the Gemara. Why does she get the ksuba? She has the ksuba, so she take the food and she shall leave, take the money and go out. But ask the Gemara with regard to the mezayni, maybe we have to be concerned that she's going to tarry and that she's going to want to continue living over there. So Amar Lei responds the Gemara, less Lei, she does not receive the sustenance. Even in this scenario in which she borrowed the money, she still does not receive it. Ask the Gemara, Vatani Yeshla, we learned that the different rights that she gets. Mizaynos, Hitani Lachar Misa, Isti Amri, another Lashon. Amar Lei Tani Yeshla, Haba Amid Vaisi, you have to divorce her. Tani Yeshla. Ki Tanya lachar misa. Says the Gemara, we do not have a conclusive raya. Tanu Rabbanon, says the Gemara, continuing our discussion. In these two scenarios, she gets supported, she gets food, she gets worn out clothing, but she is puzzle and Uvlada Basel. The relation between the Alman and the Kohen Gadol makes her forbidden and her children as well. And we force him to divorce her. Case number one. Case number two, Shnei is very serving ain't like Suba. The Shnei Ha'is, they don't get Suba. Like Paris Lim Zanav Bla'is. Big Sheira, but she is kosher, Uvlada kosher, and their offsprings are kosher as well. The Kohen Gadol, we force him to divorce her. Amar Rav Shimon Elazar Neimamra, Alman the Kohen Gadol Yishak Suba. Says Rav Shimon Elazar, I don't understand. Why is this Almana to the Kohen Gadol getting a Ksuba? He says the reason is he is Aser and she is Aser. They're both puzzled via the marriage of the Almana and the Kohen Gadol. V'cholmakav shu puzzled v'ipsula, and said of Shimon Elazar a klal. Anytime both of the unions, the resultant is that they're both forbidden, therefore, kansu oisai, we knas him ksuba, we give him a knas of the ksuba that he has to pay the ksuba. It's a bit of a difficult reading, so let's hone in. We knas him that what? He has to pay the ksuba. What is the reason that if it's a second degree relative in the Rabbanan name like ksuba, they do not kick ksuba? In that case, he's the kosher one because the relations did not answer him. They cannot her. We view it as if it's her fault, and therefore he does not have to pay the ksuba. Rabbi argues and he says, "Alalu divrei Torah, but divrei Torah ain't tzrichen chezik. Halom divrei sefer ain't tzrichen chezik." Davar acher, a third shot in the differentiation. Zeu margila v'zu hi margila site. Who was the evil party? Who was one that convinced the other ones to have relations, in this case of the Kohen Gadol to the Almana, or between the Gush and the Chutz of the Kohen Yadit? Says the Gemara, Zuhi Margila. The man is one that persuaded him, but Vizu, he Margilasai, whereas the case of the Shniyas with different Seifrim, it is the woman who persuaded the man, and therefore that's going to determine the outcome. If it's the woman who persuaded, then she's going to lose her rights to the Ksuba and the Mezainais, particularly. If it was the Baal, then they get it. Davar Acher says, another Psham, Mai Ketanila, Ikadiamri, Shimon Elazar Ketanila, or Matam Kamar, this is the way to read the Braisa. Matam Amru, Paisal Yivsula, because she has accustomed him, she persuaded him, she was enticing him to have these forbidden relations. So we have basically two different ways of approaching who was the one at fault over here in these scenarios. Another way of learning. He didn't understand. The case of Chalitz is only Derabanan. Why is there Ksuba? Hadar Amar, he explained, Kim the Apostle, so in each scenario, it's a different person that was the provocative one, the other one that convinced them into the relations, and that's going to be the chelik. So now it says the Gemara, after we have all these answers, my iko bein Rebbe Rav Shimon Elazar. What's a practical taste? You keep on telling me different dinim, whether it's the Raisa, whether it's the Rabbanan, whether it's the one that was the enticing party or not. But says the Gemara, what is the nafkamina between these two cases in Rebbe and Rav Shimon Elazar? So Amar Rav Chisda Mamzeres Unesina Yisrael Ikabeinayu. What's the difference? Ma Domer Daraisa, Nami Daraisa is regular Daraisa. Ma Domer Nesha Umar Gila, because he is enticing her, he persuaded her to have relations. Mar Gila Le, but in this case she was the evil party, and therefore the din will change. Rav Elazar says Mar Domer Reza Eved Umamzer. Mar Gila Le Veloy Midi. He didn't convince her at all. Ella Amar Rav Yosef concludes this part of the Gemara. What is the nafka? Excuse me, that was a kasha. The Gemara just asked Rav Elazar that says that an Eved is the Areza Evzid Mamzer. So what is the reason that the Mamzeres would not be the one to convince the other one to have relations? So it says the Gemara, another differentiation between the two cases. Elam Rav Yosef, Machzer Gushasa Mishnesezi Ben Hayu, Man Domer Daraisa, Nami Daraisa, it's Daraisa to return and marry your divorcee after she married elsewhere. Man Domer Neishu Magila, Hahi Margilale, she is the one that convinced him because she had nothing to lose, she did not become an officer. Akiva says, yes, it's a love. So it is forbidden. The child is a mamzer. She would never persuade him to have relations. You know what the difference of the cases are when there's a ba'ula, a woman who previously had relations that's together with the kohen gadol. Man, and it's the raisa. But because he's in Daisigar, in this case, he margilale, she's the one that's doing the persuading. The fourth and the final attempt says the Gemara that the case is when one remarries, he goes back to the woman in which was suspected, in which was determined to have to drink the mechatas, and they went and they were together. The raisa for them to be together at that point after the kinoi, after the warning. According to Margilamba, that says because he enticed her to do the Avera, he Margilale, she is the one that enticed him in this case. Well, Rav Masya ben Charash asked the Gemara, Damar afilu oilich bailu lashkaisa ubalecha baderech asazayna. Rav Masya ben Charash holds a unique chiddush. He holds if the husband and wife are traveling to the Beis Hamikdash so she could drink the mechata, she could be tested by the water of the Parah Aduma, and then they were together on the road. What's the halacha? She would never convince him to have relations because she's becoming a Zaina. In a case where they were condemned that they have to, that she was indeed over the Avera, that's going to be the difference in the two ways of explaining the Gemara. And ultimately, we're going to pick it up from the Mishnah B'siyata D'Shmaya in the next year.